Good afternoon. This is Media Center, Ukraine, Odesa, and our today's first press conference is dedicated to prevention of injuries and provision of emergency medical care to children during summer. We have several guests today, and the first will be Oksana Rokunets-Sorochan, senior official of Odesa Regional Healthcare Department of the Odesa Oblast Military Administration. Good afternoon, all those who are present here. Today's briefing was initiated by the director of the Department of Health because in the region we can see a significant increase in children's injuries and increase in the numbers of dead children. When we analyze previous years, we can see that the injuries of children are on the third place. 17,000 children were registered last year, injured children, and in 2021 it was only at the level of 16,000. This means that every year we can see increase by 10% of this indicator. As for the structure of children's injuries, we can say that in 2020-2021 there was a significant percentage of street injuries, around 47%, household injuries 35%, and sports traumas. In 2022, we can see a dramatic change in injuries, and now household injuries are on the first place, followed by street traumas and sports injuries. This means that our children, because of COVID and the martial law, had to study remotely, to be isolated at home with their gadgets, and they do not communicate with other children. We used to say that children spend a lot of time outdoors, and the traumas were related to car accidents. Sometimes those traumas were lethal. Now we can see a different problem, the mental state condition of our children who have mental issues because of the war. And they stay a lot indoors. And I'd like to say that from the 1st January 2023 till the 24th of May 2023, 16 children died in the region aged 0-6 because of poisoning. In the previous year, we had only 10 such cases. This year, we can see a significant increase of lethal cases caused by traumas, and the indicator has increased in more than 1.5 times. For the whole 2022, there have been registered 35 lethal cases related to children's injuries. And I'd like to focus on the cases due to negligence of parents and adults. And this year, we have had the little case of the child of 1 year 8 months. Yes, it was the current trauma. There was the cases of the children because of the child got too well, and 2-year-old children died because of getting to the sewage system. And in May, for the reported period, we've had already 2 lethal cases, children 2 and 7 years old, because they fell down of windows. These are mainly boys, 70% of boys, because they are more active, because of the active games. And the Department of the Health of the State Regional Administration emphasizes that adults should care about their children. Children should not be unattended at home with the household devices. Adults should always analyze the possible risks of children's injuries indoors. In this briefing, we have the experts of the Department of Health and the responsible doctors who provide the first aid to children, who will share information about real example Thank you. Examples. Now I would like to give floor to Stasia Komadinko, emergency medicine physician at the Odesa Regional Center for Emergency Medical Care and the disaster medicine. You face this issue face to face, so to say. Thank you. Thank you for the possibility to share the experience of emergency medical care. Since 2020, according to the data of the Odesa Emergency Aid Station, the number of cases of injuries among children has not only not decreased, but has also had a disappointing trend towards an increase in the number of especially severe injuries and deaths. The most common are domestic injuries. In second place are street injuries, and third are injuries because of road accidents. If some accidents are difficult to prevent, there are many situations where the lack of vigilance and disregard of safety rules on the part of adults cause sometimes fatal consequences for children. Some injuries are seasonal, like children falling from windows. This month alone, as it has already been mentioned, ambulance crews received 2 such calls. Children aged 2 and 7 fell out of the windows. Children usually don't understand that mosquito nets cannot prevent from falling, and that's why they get severe injuries. Unfortunately, the chances of survival in such circumstances are minimal, and children almost always die on the spot from their injuries before the arrival of medics. The same can be said about the road accidents. In the first quarter of this year, there were 31 calls involving children. Almost all cases of death, of serious injury of a child, are related to adults' disregard of traffic rules, in particular the rules about the child being in a child car seat according to a child age. It is practically impossible to hold a child in your arms during an accident and even during sharp braking. In summer, we also note an increase in accidents related to recreation on the water. Last year, there were 8 calls, 8 cases. A vacation can easily end tragically, especially if basic safety rules are neglected and the child who is near water is not watched. The child can just drown, and only then parents notice that a child is missing. And of course, there are cases of children being poisoned by chemicals, in particular cleaning products, laundry products, and medicines. We are all saddened by the recent death of 2 children from poisoning by an unknown substance. 1 child died before the arrival of the medics, and the second was in the intensive care unit, but unfortunately died as well. All the things should be physically inaccessible to the child. Our statistics show that the number of cases of poisoning among children is not decreasing. Only in the first quarter of this year, more than 80 children have already received poisoning of varying degrees of severity by different substances. I would like to say that it is very difficult to arrive in cases when a child was healthy just a few moments ago and there is a fatal moment. And I would like to advise parents to pay more attention to securing the space in which the child is, not to hope that it will pass us by, or that the child is still small, or on the contrary, already an adult. And this is exactly the case when you need to learn from other people's mistakes. Thank you. Now I would like to give floor to Volodymyr Bosenko, pediatric anesthesiologist, head of the intensive care unit at the Odesa Oblast Children's Clinical Hospital. The floor is yours. First of all, I would like to say that for the year of the full-scale invasion, we have seen a lot of injuries among children from Odessa, Mykolaiv, and Kherson Oblast. And I would like to ask parents not to neglect air alerts and to keep your children safe. In spring and summer, we have changes in the categories of children who are hospitalized. These are mainly domestic injuries. Only this week, a 7-year-old boy who was just running and smiling was injured, and unfortunately we were not able to save him. I would like to remind parents that the window closed with mosquito net is an open window, and your child just plays near an open window. Such nets do not protect children because every year we have such cases when children fall out of windows. Such traumas are usually very severe. Unfortunately, they are mostly lethal. Sometimes children get disabled, so these are severe traumas that envisage long-term treatment and suffering for children. Other causes of traumas are car accidents. Children stay outdoor. And please remind them every day about the traffic rules and about how to cross roads. And it is very difficult for drivers to react if a child suddenly rushes to the street, to the road. As for poisoning, spring, summer are always the seasons of poisoned children. Perhaps everyone in Odesa are aware now about the death of 2 children. The poisoning substance is still unknown, but unfortunately, we believe that they were poisoned by some things like different chemicals, the cleaning products, etc., are left unattended by children in some bottles. Sometimes they could be stored in Coca-Cola bottles or bottles of other beverages. People just drink them, and they very severe injuries in their internal organs, leading to disabilities and suffering of both children and parents. I would like also to speak a bit about details of small flat batteries. They are usually contained by toys. Children took them in their mouth, and a child just swallow it. And it gets to the esophagus, and the child have severe burns in this case. And we need to interfere to try to treat a child. This is all on my side. Thank you. And now I would like to give floor to Andriy Popchenko, pediatric orthopedic traumatologist, head of the trauma department of the Odesa Oblast Children's Clinical Hospital. Please share your experience. Thank you. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to talk about the traumas of children. Our hospital provides services to the whole region 24/7. We assist children with traumas, with different pathology of surgical nature. Children can refer to us 24/7. And children traumas can be classified by age. So these are traumas of children below 1. These can be delivery traumas. And these are the question for gynecologists, and there is the same number of traumas usually, so we don't see any significant volatility here. Then the traumas of babies. These are foreign objects that can be swallowed by children. Usually these are some batteries, some Lego parts, coins. Perhaps these are the most frequent cases. What can be done here to prevent such cases? Just to take care of such things, to collect the things, especially when they are older children who forget just to take care about their own tastes, thus leading to problems in smaller children. The next group of traumas, these are the older children, toddlers, when they start walking, when they are interested in everything, when they want to touch wires, everything that they can find, for example, on tables. Parents should take care so they need to remove electronic devices like electric kettles, etc., to close all sockets, to use special devices, because the children will always find something to put in a socket, leading to severe traumas. Sometimes they're lethal cases. Also, children of such age, the children of 4, 5, 6 years old, when they have different types of toy scooters, they can go to trauma when they fall down from such scooters. These are sometimes severe traumas, but in most cases they are not that severe. But children have special parts of growth. If these parts are damaged, if these areas are damaged, a child in the future can have problems with the development. And this has an accumulative basis. Sometimes the treatment methods cannot affect this, but this depends on the severity of trauma of such growth area. Then the next groups, these are students, those who only start going to schools. These are mainly traumas that are got on playgrounds. Sometimes children do not go to home at once. They can pass by playgrounds, and unfortunately, not always our playgrounds are safe. There can be some damaged parts of swing or other attractions leading to injuries among children. There can be injured limbs, heads, belly, internal organs, etc. The next group, the traumas of children of older age, when they're interested in speed transport, not only transport, but what they can find in a garage of their fathers, for example. And if they see that their parents do something, they try to do the same. So parents should be careful. They should not leave different types of equipments like hair dryers unattended, because children can turn such devices like drills on, causing problems. And parents sometimes buy mopeds, motorcycles, and sometimes car for their older children, causing severe traumas, because children don't know yet how to properly calculate the speed. This leads to significant traumas. These are open fractures that can lead to osteomyelitis. Because the bones, which are covered by soft tissues, are broken and contaminated, and thus leading to traumas that affect the rest of the life of children. I would also like now to focus on a new kind of trauma. This is the traumas caused by mines and explosives. These are combined traumas. They are new for us in our practice, and we only start learning how to treat such traumas. Sometimes we even involve the colleagues, doctors who work with adults, sometimes even from the military hospital. And parents should take care about their children. Please do not neglect air raid alerts. Please find some shelter all the time. And I would like to advise you to upload some air alert app on your smartphones. And only parents can take care about their children and about themselves. It has already been mentioned, but I would like to emphasize once again. These are the traumas, the injuries caused by falling from the window. Parents rely on mosquito nets, and 50% and even more of such traumas have lethal consequences. Children die, and unfortunately, doctors can do nothing about such traumas. And one more trauma caused by domestic or wild animals. The prevention of such bites is problematic in our country. There is a lack of vaccines, but I don't know what is the reason. But owners of pets do not have their pets vaccinated. And this is also important to remember. We will have some clarifying questions to you. And now I would like to give floor to Tetiana Pokotilova, Deputy Head of Odesa Oblast Children's Clinical Hospital. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for having opportunity to talk to parents, to adults with children. They are responsible for raising awareness of children in our environment. Unfortunately, the war aggression is ongoing. Unfortunately, we're still in conditions when we're separated. Some children used to go to kindergartens, to schools, and there they can get knowledge about first aid, about prevention of traumas, about traffic rules. These children are now have to stay at home. They are separated, they are fully absorbed by their devices, and there is the lack of communication. When children go outside, they want to learn more about the surrounding world because they are bored of sitting at home, and they want to do everything at once. They want to skate, they want to play on the playground, but sometimes it might be dangerous. What parents can do at different levels? We see the different side of the medal. We see children who refer to hospitals in severe conditions. The children are traumatized, there are fractures, there can be different levels of such injuries. But our task is to generally prevent such cases. Why we're sharing so many examples now? Because we want to say to adults that at every stage, adults are responsible for health and safety of their children. From the very beginning, we should create safe conditions for our babies and children. And then in the future, we need to explain to our children that apart from challenges of the war, has other challenges. There is a lot of risks and threats outside. If parents have car, they need to have a children car seat and to fasten belts. It is basic things. Parents should teach their children how to cross the road properly. As for different chemicals, all chemicals, and we have trained a lot adults, and we keep mentioning as different chemicals, especially acids, they have a negative impact on the mucous membrane of not only mouth, but of internal bodies. Because you understand that acids can solve different types of metals and plastics. You can only imagine how they can damage internal organs of children, leading to disabilities in children. Yes, we have different types of medical care, and of course we try to treat children, but unfortunately it is not always possible, and children can live with severe disabilities in the future. And it has been already mentioned by Andriy Popchenko that there are different area of growth in children. If these areas are damaged, then perhaps the limbs will be underdeveloped. We cannot rectify everything. And there is one more challenge for children: staying indoors. And we used to say that the devices and isolation are the problems of teenagers, but now we can see these problems in younger children, starting from 9 and 10. This is related to the fact that children don't feel that they are needed. They cannot communicate as they used to do. And quite often, they can in different groups on the web. And this leads to some thoughts in children that the children they poison themselves and injure themselves. That's why today we would like to ask parents that you need to communicate with your children, for them to feel that you are their friends, to monitor the state of your children, go outside with your children. Of course, all of us understand that we work, that we're all busy, but children is the most precious thing that we have. This is our future. Without our support, they cannot live, and why should we live then? Thank you. Now I'd like to give the floor to our audience. Good afternoon. My name is Irena Shevchkovska, Suspilne Radio Odesa. I have several questions to you. And the question to all of you first. All of you have mentioned this a bit, but first, after the start of the full-scale war, are there now any specific diseases, traumas among children? What is the dynamics of such diseases? And of course, all of one joked that with the first alert, all of us forgot about COVID. That was a sad joke, but somehow we switched to another problem. Can you share information about some specific traumas after the full-scale invasion started? This could be related to explosives, to mines. This could be related to acoustic traumas during shelling. So this is my question. If you have an answer, please provide it. Thank you very much for your question. Yes, I've already mentioned this, that during the war, unfortunately, we save traumas, which is unique now. These are traumas caused by mines and explosives. These are very severe injuries and traumas that are related not only to damage to soft tissues, but unfortunately, this is a significant paratrauma. We could relate, we could talk about different types of missile-caused traumas, mine-caused traumas. These are very severe traumas. Very often it is lead to amputation just to save life of people and children. But unfortunately, we can see it now, and unfortunately, we already have such surgeons, amputations. And when it comes to structure of new traumas, I can agree with my colleague that we will face unique traumas leading to physical inabilities because of the amputation of fingers and hands. And we have mental traumas because when parents hear alert of the app, and they understand that they need to descend to a shelter with elderly people, with the elderly members of the family, with limited mobility, so we have different cases. A child does not understand what happens outside. You can explain what's happening, but this is the fear of the external environment. On the other hand, a child sees that there is anxiety of adults, parents, grandparents, and here we need to refer to psychologists, children rehabilitologist. Now we're talking about the prevention of possible traumatic effects. There can be chemical, physical, radiational, but we cannot protect children from all the factors, both outside, indoors, and outdoors. And the topic of our today's briefing is the prevention, to raise alertness of parents, colleagues, friends. We are adults, and we have more extensive experience, and we need to prepare our children to the new life to the maximum extent possible. I say that this is the new life because this is a new experience. This is a new challenge of living during the war and after the war. And this is a challenge both for adults and for children. Our children should be now mentally resilient because they need also to learn some basic knowledge and basic skills. They need to complete learning at schools, to find jobs, to form their personality. And we at the Department of Health know about these vector aspects and all the challenges that we have been facing. Now we have the week of the civil health. Recently, we have had the Day of Prevention of Mental Diseases. We have a center that works directly with the improvement of mental health. And now we have been training psychologists who will work both with adults and children. But the children psychologists require additional skills. That's why I would like to say that I fully agree with Tetiana Pokotilova. The parents should take care about their children, that there are changes in children, that there are disturbances in eating and sleep, that you can see anxiety in your child. We have a special center. You can address your family doctor. You can you can address your request about the mental health to you or to your children, or you need a consultation of a psychologist, and you will be referred to the Central of Mental Health. You leave your contacts, and then the responsible experts will get back to you to work with your family. We work with all the requests that we get in our center, and every family that requires mental support is referred to a doctor responsible for the whole family. So please do not neglect this possibility, but you need to address first your family doctor. Thank you very much for your question. This is a very urgent issue at the moment. I would also like to add that children should monitor the mental condition of their children, especially because we have missile attacks, there's the air defense systems working, and this can lead to different conflicts between children and parents, leading to attempted suicides. And usually it is the problem for teenagers. Quite often we get children after a suicide attempt. I have a question from the information agency Union. We have got the question online, and it is related to the recent events that started a year and a half before, but it is not only related to the war. What is the difference in the percentage of children injuries comparing to other regions of Ukraine? Do you have such statistics? Everything depends on the intensivity of military activity. I'm sorry, actually, this is not only about the war, just the general statistics in comparison with other regions of Ukraine. When it comes to domestic injuries at school, the percentage is the same on the whole territory of Ukraine. Thank you. So it is not related to military activity. The percentage is the same all over Ukraine. There is a short, one more question. Today we will have a briefing about opening the tourist season. How you, as doctors, relate to this as children, as pediatrics? Do you see any threats to lives of children if the beaches are open? Child should be on the seaside only attended by their children. Quite often, mothers just talk on the phone, and children get drowned. Unfortunately, we see this every year. Sometimes we get children that we cannot save. And now it's the question not only about every youth, but it is related to the risks related to military activity. Do you mean mines? Not only mines. I believe that all of us stayed indoors too long. We want to get outside. We want to get to the seaside, and everything's clear here. But I don't think that haste should be here, that the crowds of people on the beach near the sea can have some significant consequences. If there is a missile attack, there could be a mass panic there, and how can these people be saved? What about mines? The sea is mined at the moment, and that's why it is not recommended to swim. So if there is only sunbathing, then this is one question. When it comes to open sea, this is a different issue, and the Department of Health and line doctors ask not to swim unless it is officially said that there are no mines. Of course, this is up to you to make a decision, but we do not recommend to swim. we expect now official permission, and only after official permission we can bathe in the sea. Thank you. Thank you. Today we will have a briefing about official permission. It would be very interesting to know about the grounds of that official permission. We will have briefing at 4 p.m. Thank you very much for your briefing. Thank you very much for your participation. Our next briefing will be in 1 hour. We are waiting for Yulia Laputenko, the Minister of Veterans, and at 4 p.m. we will have a briefing about the possible opening of beaches and also in water transportation on this region. Please stay tuned.